cold at the touch, dead in the eyes, no signs of life no more. I put your love under the knife. Leave me to die here all alone. No signs of life no more, no. A crying dove may never fly. Black and white. Black and white. Oh, 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 oh. It's black and white. Just let me go, it's only right. For all I know, it's only matter. It's calico, it's black and white. Just let me go, it's only right. For all I know, it's only matter. It's calico, it's black and white. White, white, white. Black and white. Yeah. Black and white. Oh, 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 oh. It's black and white. Black and white.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening indeed. Welcome to the final round of the season in the Sim Stickers Simracersworld Formula 3 Series 4th season. And we are here at the wonderful Hockenheim ring. My name is Chaz Draycott, and it is my pleasure to be here to crown us a couple of champions this evening. It's certainly a hell of a place to do it, and the conditions are looking very gloomy indeed. There's a number of drivers involved in different championship fights as this goes on. and it's going to be very, very close to the very end. We'll show you exactly what we're on about, because in the precision standings at the moment, it is Bart Daleman. After an amazing time at Red Bull Ring last time out, he leads the championship by some strong margins over Tobias Olson and Alex Jonsson. Jonsson can do it tonight, but it has to be a bit of a miracle to beat Bart all the way. Don't forget as well, the grids in these races are going to be reversed on their championship positions. So Bart will be at the back of the precision class, with the consistency class guys behind them. And then, of course, Academy as well. Speaking of consistency, it's Ben Hoffman that is on his way to take that title at the moment, but Tim Rutten's going to fight him to the flag. Hans Polmans and Philip Russell not quite able to get the job done this evening. Wayne Palmer, Victor Blick and Khan Newen, the next few drivers behind. In the Academy Championship, though, it's all wrapped up. Jakob Schmanski, a fantastic time at Red Bull Ring for him. Made sure that he secured the top spot with one entire race meeting to go. So he's a very happy bunny indeed. We spoke to him after he claimed the title at Red Bull Ring, and he was not expecting it whatsoever. In the team standings, well, look at that. Flying at altitude with Alcantech, a team that only came into the series for the second half onwards, has not quite decimated the field, as I was going to say there, but they're over 100 points ahead of the third place team. It's Alcantech NHR by Nyman Racing that need to pull their socks up a little bit to try and beat the Flying Altitude boys tonight. But there's plenty to still do. We will actually take a quick look back, though, at the Academy standings. We will come back a step here, because Craig Schill, Phil Reagan, Adam Ossioala, even Stephen Grabowski as well, they could all fight for a top 3 spot and end up on the championship podium by the time that this evening is done. So they have something to fight for as well, which will keep it very interesting throughout. So, where are we? I'm not Jonathan Ross. Where are we right now? Well, we're partway through practice, just about to get to the end of said practice session. And here is Bart Daleman, your current championship leader. 4th at the moment, though, a couple of tenths off Tobias Olson and Alex Jonsson. I have been provided with spreadsheets and all sorts, so thank you, Bart Daleman. He's the series admin as well, so you're all allowed to shout fix if he wins this thing. Tim Rutten, currently 9th at the moment, fastest in the consistency class. He needs to do that tonight. Let's try and beat Ben Hoffman. He's only 0.07 of a second quicker than him, but still, he's quicker than him. Jakob Schmanski. Now, this is very important, this is. Jakob Schmanski is debuting a new paint this evening. The Mamba livery. Mamba Sim Sport. Very striking black and green livery. Very bold indeed. Looks absolutely lovely. It's a debut for that livery. Jakob no longer running his 1998 Minardi colour scheme that we used to see. But he is fastest in Academy at the moment from Stephen Growowski and then Craig Schill. 2 super Swedes back out there on track. There's still that's Craig Vrolick as well. Alcantech NHR by SimLab. There's a number of the Alcantech boys out there, as we usually have. All of them fighting as hard as they can. Dominikas Jovaisha is back with us tonight. I don't remember seeing him at Red Bull Ring, but it's good to have him back on track with us for the season finale. He's been a very exciting driver to watch this season. Can't wait to see how he gets on tonight. He's not doing too well right now, though. 16th overall, 12th in class. He's going to hope to improve that. And he doesn't. He's 1.1 seconds off. This circuit, though, very wide in most places. It's going to be very, very busy with overtakes this evening. And I think the driver's going to have a lot to focus on. But as we've seen, and as I've mentioned, it is very gloomy right now. If we do take a quick look at the weather, you can see it's only 19 degrees on track and 19 degrees in the air. Oh, and there you go. There's an example of how slippery it is. Ross Nicholson goes around continues his lap. It was a nice 360. He's got Craig Schill, who's just gone through shot in front of him. But this is a very nerve-wracking time for a number of these guys. It could go any which way right now. So here we go then. Straight into it. First race of the day. Nick Shermans takes pole position ahead of Mark Van Dalen. Rhys Saunders and Dominika Sjovica make up row 2. Then it's going to be Silas Kragvrolic and Ross Nicholson. Miguel Freitas and Kevin Zemstra make up row 4. Mark Fletcher and Alex Jonsson, teammates on row 5, ahead of Tobias Olson and Bart Daleman, both going for that championship. Only 6 consistency drivers tonight. Carn Newen, Wayne Palmer, Philip Russell, Hans Polmans, Tim Rutten and Ben Hoffman, all trying to fight for their own championship positions. Greg Parmenter and Stephen Grabowski round out the top 20, the top 2 academy drivers on the grid. Adam Osceola is 21st ahead of Phil Reagan. Then it's Craig Schill and Jakob Schmanski, the newly crowned champion, at the very back of the grid. So, set number of laps for each race here this evening. We just wait for Tim Rutten to make it to the grid. And unfortunately, it doesn't look like Tim is going to make the grid, so maybe a pit lane start for him. Either way, round 15 of the Sim Stickers Simracersworld Formula 3 Series gets underway. It's a nice tidy getaway from Nick Shermans. Mark Van Dalen loses a spot, so too does Dominika Sjovica. The two of them running wide. Oh, Silas Kragvrolic, he was 3 wide and he's turned in and he's gone off, and there's more contact for the back. Ben Hoffman! Ben Hoffman is involved, the championship leader. Inconsistency gets himself in trouble. Unbelievable stuff straight away. Once again, we have championship protagonists involved in incidents. Now, where are our championship protagonists in the precision lot? This is Tobias Olson trying to get around Mark Fletcher. Are we going to go 4 wide? I hope not. Down towards the hairpin. Everyone trying to behave themselves. Mark's gone deep on the brakes down the inside. Kevin Zemstra there on his left. Oh, a bit rough on the outside there. Philip Russell, Hans Polman's involved in that as well, I believe. Dominika Sjovica and Ross Nicholson having a fight near the front of the field. We will go back and have a look at what happened to Ben Hoffman. Oh, Stephen Grabowski's off. No, Stephen was one of the highest placed drivers in the academy class. It's all gone to pot for him. I think Silas is out. Can't believe it. Silas Kragvrolic. Let's have a look at what happened. He's 3 wide around the outside and just turns in. Not sure he knew that he was 3 wide. I think that touch might have broken the car. Potentially Adam Osceola going off there as well, you know. Oh wow, what on earth happened there with Ben Hoffman? He got a lot of hits off the rear. They're 4 wide. Oh, and Grabowski gets into him, and then I believe it was Osceola. Oh, we've got Rhys Saunders flying down the order. And more of them. Tobias Olson's involved. No, Tobias, that's championship changing stuff. Wayne Palmer's in that as well. Miguel Freitas and Tobias Olson stuck together. Both determined to get going. Oh, and Tobias in his frustration has spun it. I cannot believe it. This will all but throw the championship to Bart Daleman, surely. Rhys Saunders went off track. No. Oh, or did... oh, well, there wasn't much Rhys Saunders could do there. Tobias Olson and Miguel Freitas both went off. So Tobias has gone down the inside of Miguel while all that was going on. He sort of put himself in that situation there, didn't he? Rhys Saunders had the spin, tried to get back across, and then was right in the path of Wayne Palmer. So it's all gone to pot there. That could potentially give Bart Daleman the championship. He's currently 8th in his class, but he just needs to outscore Tobias tonight, and right now where he is, he's going to be doing that. So far, Nick Shermans is absolutely gone. Fastest lap of the race for Nick. Kevin Zemstra is in 2nd place. Then it's Dominika Sjovica holding off just about everybody else. Currently sits third. Everyone doing personal bests. Hello, Ross Nicholson getting very close there. Mark van Dalen having a bit of a fight here as well. That's Alex Jonsson. Alex now going to be a victim to the slipstream. Hold on to the brakes they go. Bottom of the hill in the hairpin, and Ross Nicholson has gone up to third place ahead of Dominika Szowaisza. Bart Daleman sat at the back of all of this, just watching, probably just grateful that he didn't get involved in that crash before. Khan Nguyen leads the consistency class. And this is Phil Reagan, who's gained 10 places so far in this race, and leads Academy. So too does Craig Schill. Well, doesn't lead Academy, but he's gained 11 places. This is the battle to watch, though. Look at these guys all so close together. Dominika Szowaisza now trying to stay with Ross Nicholson. He's got Mark Fletcher, Alex Jonsson, two teammates, of course, trying to wrap up the team's championship tonight. Both following on. We head on to lap 4 out of 30 in this first race of the evening. 2 races, of course. Already 10% through this one. Now the second race is shorter than the first, so this will be the longer of the two. Jonsson now tucked into the slipstream behind his teammate. Now you could hear Mark there dipping the clutch. Mark was definitely fuel saving there on his way into the hairpin. He slowed down to let his teammate through, and there was definite dipping of the clutch. Let's see if we can go on board. He's definitely holding back a little bit, isn't he? There's no point fighting with his teammate, I suppose. They just want to wrap up the team's championship, save fuel at this point. Hans Polmans has done the fastest lap of the race. 1:31.96. So he's on a mission. He's currently second in his class. And I'll show you the overall positions in class on the left-hand side, so you can see them. Obviously, they have the coloured stripe next to their name, so you know which class they're all in. As Khan Nguyen loses the class lead. There you go. Hans Polmans goes through. Khan Nguyen made a mistake. And that's all it took. Oh, you could see the smoke. You could see that he'd just done a complete 360. Greg Parmenter's just had an issue. Oh, big moment out of turn 1. Oh, and Greg's put it in the wall. Damages the front of the car. Not sure if that's going to handle how he wants. Tim Rutten with the fastest lap of the race there. Dominika Szowaisza has apparently done the fastest lap of the race, though. So I'm not quite sure where that changes. That must have been in class. He's done the fastest lap. No, you get a point for that as well. You get a point for the fastest lap in your class. And there is another point as well, which I will check for. Either way, this is very, very close indeed. Yeah, it's just 1 point for fastest lap, that's all. Apologies. Still, good fight going on here. Dominika Szowaisza, Alex Jonsson, Mark Fletcher, Mark van Dalen. They're all just sticking together at this stage. We're a fifth of the way through. Hard onto the brakes. Whoa, bit of a step out there by Dominika Švajša. Oh, movement there, movement over to the right. Nearly takes out Alex Johnson. I was just looking at the timing, and just as I looked away, I saw their positions change for a moment, and then suddenly they were almost locking wheels with each other. Johnson not too pleased with that. You can see him moving over slightly. Still, Dominikas holds on. This is fantastic defensive driving. The Lithuanian has certainly made that car very, very wide this season. He's continuing to do that now. Into the last couple of corners he goes. Oh, and around goes Ross Nicholson. No! Ross has dropped it. I don't know any drivers that have less luck than Ross Nicholson. He was second overall and he's binned it on his own. Oh, just that tiny touch of the curb, hard on the power out the final corner. He's very lucky not to get collected by anybody else. But right now, Bart Daleman leading this championship. And if he does finish where he is now, then that's going to be it. As Mark Fletcher has got ahead of Dominika Švajša and Alex Johnson all in one go. Oh, the two of them getting very close together. I think Alex actually lost the rear end on the way in. Dominikas had to stay around the outside to not make contact, and now Mark van Dalen's all over the back of Švajša. And suddenly Bart Daleman, champion-elect, is found to be right in the middle of it. So it's 25 points for a race win. I think Bart just needs to score 20 points over the course of the meeting. I'm just trying to find some of the scores in here, but for some reason, here we go. I found the scores. Apologies. The gap is 32 points right now. The most you can get from a race is 26 if you get the fastest lap and you win your class. So really, Tobias Olson needs to sort it out right now. But unfortunately for him, he is down in 19th place in car 19. Some 56 seconds back from Bart Daleman. It's not how we'd want to see a championship get decided. But at the end of the day, that is motorsport. Into the stadium section once again goes Dominika Švajša. Still holding on in 5th place though. The 3 cars in front of him have all gained 6 positions. The man that's at the very front of the field though, Nick Shermans, he's getting closed in on here. He did a 1:31.3 last time round, 31.0 for Zemstra. Zemstra's getting closer and closer right now. 31.1 versus 30.9. So Zemstra takes another couple of tenths out of Nick Shermans, but Nick's certainly holding on well right now. He's got Stephen Grabowski, who's just come back out in front of him. Now Bart Daleman, Alex Johnson and Miguel Freitas all pitting early. This was the strategy that Bart pulled at Red Bull Ring and it worked wonders for him. He's trying the same again now. Stephen Grabowski stays over to the right-hand side, gets well out of the way of our race leaders. But Zemstra is closing. He's now within a second. It's 7 tenths back to the Alcantech car. We ride on board with him right now. Hoffman does his fastest lap of the race. Ben Hoffman, to be fair, he's recovered to 5th place in his class. Hans Polman still leads that. Mark van Dalen and Dominikas Javajsha have had an issue, or at least Dominikas has. What has happened here? Oh, Dominikas does it on his own. I thought there might have been contact. No, he's just spun it all on his own. He has got going again and carried on. But this battle for the lead is developing. Nick Sherman's currently ahead of Zemstra, but not by much. 0.6 of a second now, and we will look back from the race leading car. Let's see what the gap goes down to then. It's just creeping down to half a second now. And now the slipstream is starting to become more effective. Now it's 4.5 tenths of a second. 4 tenths of a second as they're onto the brakes. Zemstra getting ever closer, gets a nice run out the hairpin as well. It's less than 3 tenths of a second now. Zemstra is moving in for the kill, you have to think. Lap 10 out of 30. Sherman's has done a great job so far. Is he going to be able to hold on though against the Alcantech driver, Kevin Zemstra? We know how quick Kevin is. He's won multiple races in this championship. He's not had quite the season to remember this time round. But he's got 5 seconds over Mark Fletcher behind him, so he needs to pounce as soon as possible to hold that gap. He doesn't want to get held up behind Nick if he feels that Nick isn't as quick as him. It's been proven by the fact that Kevin's caught up so quickly that he's definitely the one with the pace right now. Let's compare the lap times. It's a 1:31.3 for Sherman's, 1:31.0 for Zemstra, 1:30.9 for Mark Fletcher. Fletcher's on the move here. Mark is flying. We've got a consistency class battle going on, by the way. Tim Rutten's got Ben Hoffman right behind him. These two fighting, of course, up near the top of the championship. Ben at the very top of it. I believe Tim's actually second in the championship. He is. So if Ben can just finish in front of Tim, that would sort that battle out. Khan Newen and Craig Schill both into the pits. Tim has to finish ahead of Ben to keep this alive. We are going to go back to that actually because it's just got even closer. The gap is 27 points coming into this race meeting. You can get 26 for a race win with fastest lap in your class. Ben Hoffman does the job down the inside of Tim Rutten, and he's now in front, and that puts him in championship winning position. Tobias Olson's done the fastest lap of the race, a 1:30.8, so he's getting at least 1 championship point for that. But that's not going to be enough where he is right now. Zemstra, whoa, nice and late, decided to come into the pits, has taken the lead. But only for now. Khan Newen just had a bit of a moment there by the look of it. We've got a lot of cars coming into the pits now. Don't forget, race 1 at the Red Bull Ring was 2 stops, and that's Khan Newen clipped. Oh, and absolutely smacked into by Miguel Freitas. Miguel was just a little bit late on the brakes. Much later on the brakes than Khan. Tried to stay out of his way, and then got secondary contact. Now we've got drivers coming out of the pits. Kevin Zemstra, the first of them. Nick Sherman's just behind, then Mark Fletcher, Alex Jonsson, Mark van Dalen. Hans Polmans comes out still in the lead of the consistency class. He's got everything done properly so far. Here's Phil Reagan, currently 10th overall. Behind Ross Nicholson, who had a spin earlier on, of course. Ross still inside the top 10, but it's Phil Reagan leading the academy class. And here is the battle for consistency. Ben Hoffman just ahead of the flickering sunshine. Tim Rutten just behind him there. A very brightly coloured Year 1 car. They're literally right together on track, but Ben would seal the deal. if he finishes where he is right now. Hans Polmans would not be able to gain enough points on him to take any sort of mathematical chance with him into the final race of the season. Craig Schill is only just ahead of Dominik Ascher. Right now, it's probably in his best interests to just let him go, really. As Dominik pushing all of the boundaries. Oh. Now, that's some sort of issue that I cannot explain there for Dominik Ascher. Maybe he got a penalty because of that off-track then. And that's been it. And he's decided that he is done with the race out of frustration. But here's your overall race leader right now, Kevin Zemstra. Just nearing the halfway point. He's done a great job of it so far. Started in 8th position on the grid. And has very swiftly made his way through the pack. Olson does another fastest lap of the race. 1:30.792. Rapid stuff. But Zemstra looking very strong right now. There were moments last season where he looked like if he kept the consistency all the way through the season, he could easily be in with a fight of the championship, or in with a shout of the championship, I should say. But right now, it's all about this final couple of races for him. Mark Fletcher doing well so far. He's gained 6 spots, so too has his teammate behind him, Alex Jonsson. It's been good watching these two this season. They've been very quick. They teamed up for the second set of playoffs. Mark Fletcher, of course, Altitude Esports. Alex Jonsson, part of Alcantech. They decided to name the team Flying at Altitude with Alcantech. Love it. This is Bart Daleman, 6th place at the moment. Currently in a championship winning position as well. And he's worked very hard on this series. He's done a great job of making it a very well-rounded product, despite employing me to do the commentary. And he's always fun to work with. Now, the top 3 in Academy, Phil Reagan, Craig Schill and Jakob Schmanski, by the way, have all gained 12 positions each in this race. They are absolutely flying, these 3. It's great to see it. It's always good to have some of the Academy drivers higher up in the order. We've certainly enjoyed watching all of their progress as the season has gone on. Jakob Schmanski, though, he's the champion now, so he's got his gloves off for the final race meeting. He can just come out here and enjoy himself for this one. Someone who's probably not enjoying himself right now is Mark van Dalen. He has got Bart Daleman right behind him, and he's closing and closing. Bart's not pushing as hard as we know that he can, but he did say this isn't really one of his best tracks in terms of pace. But Van Dalen will know that the slipstream is going to keep these two glued together. And very soon, Bart will be right on his tail. It'll be just about by the time they get to the hairpin. We'll go on board with Bart, have a look what this run looks like. Never mind that, we've got a different one to look at. It's another Sim Racers World car, but it's under attack this time rather than being the attacker. Mark Fletcher swoops down from altitude and takes the position, although it looked to me like Sherman's might have actually had him back on the exit. Bart hasn't gone for it this time on Van Dalen. Here's that battle for second place continuing. No, Sherman's not able to return the favour. Fletcher holds on to second. Good stuff by Mark Fletcher. Again, strong progress in the race for him. Made his way through the pack very cleanly, very precisely. Bart has actually made the same amount of progress as well. He's gained 6 places from where he started, but in terms of the drivers that haven't really had any issues in this class, he's currently bottom of them. Nicholson's obviously had his spin. Olson had his accident with Freitas. Gervais's retired. Freitas had his accident afterwards again. So Bart, the only one really at the back of the train that's had a clean race so far. Mark van Dalen's been in the walls in terms of the battles, but not much more than that. 5 seconds back from them. We have Hans Pullman still leading the consistency class, but we'll stay with this because you've got to think that Bart will go for a move soon. The slipstream is really huge in these cars, especially down this Parabolica. Here goes Bart on the right hand side. Olson with another fastest lap of the race. We're over the halfway point now. 2 stops, don't forget. Bart tries very hard to get it stopped and does so. Holds on to it. 5th place is his. Now what can Mark van Dalen do? Is there anything that he can pull out of the bag here to get back at Bart Daleman with? Doesn't look like it, does it? Looks like Bart's got some really good punch out of the corner. Now it's a fixed setup, this championship, so it means that the drivers all have to work with the same setups, and it's more about the driver than just having a rapid setup to make your life very easy. Tobias Olson's continuing his progress through the field, by the way. He's right behind Jakob Schmanski in that new Mamba Simsport livery. A real shame for Tobias at the moment, though. Not in a position to keep the title fight going till the very last race. It may mean that the gloves are completely off for the last round, but you never know, do you? All the time, though, Tobias Olson is closing in on Jakob Schmanski. Jakob doesn't need to fight this, though, and I'm sure that when the time comes, he will just get out of the way. But look at Tobias chasing there. He's so close to the back of cars in front. I think Jakob's staying over to the right-hand side to say, yep, after you, mate. Good stuff from the Polish driver. Zemstra's now got a 2.4 second lead at the front of the pack over Mark Fletcher. Parmenter comes into the pit lane. For what is apparently going to be his second stop. Not quite sure why he's done 2 already, whether he had some damage earlier, something like that. But Zemstra has been very tidy so far, and he'll be very happy with this performance. Up to this point, Bart Daleman does his personal best lap. Now he's ahead of Mark van Dalen, so a bit of clear air, and he is all good. Alex Jonsson does well, he did a purple first sector on that last lap. However, it did just tick over. I thought it was this current lap that he did it, but no. Apparently not. Now Nick Sherman's is soon to come under pressure again by the look of it, and it's the other flying at altitude with Alcantec car. It's Alex Jonsson closing in on him this time. Nick just needs to keep this pace up as much as he can, stay consistent, and bag some good points from these sorts of races. Tobias Olson's just come back out of the pit lane. I'd imagine he's good to go to the end now on that fuel. 12 laps left of this race after this one. We've got Steven Grabowski coming in as well. I think a number of these guys are out of sync because of the damage they had earlier on in the race. So that would mean that their stops, of course, require different amounts of fuel compared to what they would normally at this stage of the race. They have to just try and adapt to that. Ross Nicholson's in the pits now. I'd imagine we'll probably see a few more cars come into the pits as well at the end of this lap as we get to lap 20, 2/3 distance in round 15 of the 4th season of the Sim Stickers Simracersworld Formula 3 Series. Big send by Alex Johnson down the inside of Nick Sherman's. Nick hangs the back end out on the exit of the hairpin, and Alex gets in front. No fight back or anything from Nick Sherman's. He just accepts it and lets it happen. Now Ross Nicholson's just come out of the pit lane and he's under attack from Ben Hoffman. Ben's trying to wrap up the consistency class championship. He is in place to do that right now, so he doesn't need to fight too hard with Ross, but at the end of the day he's just going to go for it. Side by side down the parabolica towards the hairpin they go. Both as late as they dare on the brakes. Ben leaving plenty of room for Ross, and he's actually going to do it around the outside. Lovely. Absolutely lovely stuff. Now he's sort of getting out of the way a little bit. He's not sure, is he, how to go about this? Oh, that's a lovely move by Ross Nicholson. Very committed. Very powerful move around the outside there. Moves over to the right as if to defend, but Ben doesn't want any of it. He's not going to bother at this point. Bart Daleman's in the pits. So too is Alex Johnson. He's just coming back out. Look how close Ben Hoffman is to the back of Ross Nicholson through this final sector. Hard on the power down the straight again. Lap 20 now out of 30, and it is still Kevin Zemstra leading the way. He is currently 2.1 seconds clear of Fletcher, so Fletcher has gained a few tenths on him in the last couple of laps, but really not much. I mean, last time their lap times were 0.02 of a second different. That's 20 thousandths of a second different. So it's very minimal, any gap at the moment. Craig Schill's got Alex Johnson behind him. And I'm sure, again, Craig won't put up too much of a fight here. He knows that Alex, of course, in a very different class in this championship. He's in the precision class, Craig in the academy class. He'll be hoping to use this race to just close in on a few points compared to Jakob Schmanski. Whoa, he decides to come into the pits. That was very close with Alex Johnson there, wasn't it? Stephen Grabowski's in the pits as well, so too is Philip Russell and Phil Reagan. A bunch of them all in the pits. Kevin Zemstra has lapped Miguel Freitas. Look at this right now. The gap actually has come down to Mark Fletcher from Kevin Zemstra. 1.8 seconds now between the two. Jakob Schmanski getting out of the way of Bart Daleman there as they come into the hairpin. Bart taking Jakob under his wing for Formula 3 ventures in future. So Jakob keen to impress the boss man right there by certainly playing ball and getting out of the way. Nick Sherman's comes into the pits. He's had a good race so far, as Nick. He's held on very well near the front end of the pack. And he makes his second stop of the night. This is Ben Hoffman, second in consistency at the moment, only to Hans Polmans, who is just in the pits now. He's gained 11 places. Jakob Schmanski's gained 16, but he's only had one stop so far. So we're still waiting for a couple of the pit stops to cycle through. And for a number of the drivers to just get back in their sort of long-term positions on track. Still Ben Hoffman chasing down Ross Nicholson, though. good entertainment. And there goes Poleman's Hansi, as he's known. He's got a sticker on the back wing that says keep your distance. He's fed up of being hit by other drivers, so he's written a literal message to them on the back of the car. He's going to be telling these two to keep their distance, because what a drive this has been by Ben Hoffman. We do always say, or I at least always say, that qualifying isn't his forte. Obviously he doesn't have much choice when it comes to this championship format, but his race pace is brilliant and he makes such good progress through a field despite being turned around on the very first lap. Ben manages to somehow pull it out of the bag. So everybody on track now, a little bit more spread out than they were before. Zemstra and Fletcher have come into the pits. So too has Mark Van Dalen, I should say. And they will be the last guys to stop. I think Adam Oshiawala owes us a pit stop, although no, he's out of the race unfortunately, so ignore that. We still have the 19 cars running. Wayne Palmer, the last of the runners currently. Mark Van Dalen is going to leave the pits any moment now, but Bart Daleman is going to go through. Or is he? He's just going to sneak through, isn't he? Just about. But Bart Daleman holds on to that championship winning position. Tobias Olson is pushing very, very hard indeed. He's currently... Oh, hello, who's that off the circuit? It's a car around. It's Stephen Grabowski. His rear wing's in the middle of the road. It's been clipped. Grabowski off. Oh, Hoffman is pitting. Now. Yeah, maybe he just needs a quick splash and dash, which he has got. But Bart Daleman currently in 5th position. He's on his way to 11 points. Tobias Olson for 8th place is only going to get 4. That would mean that the gap is 39 points come the end. Johnson in 3rd on his way to 17 points. Would still only be 32 points behind. So right now Bart is on his way to secure the championship, even with Zemstra winning the race. Zemstra's nearly 90 points back, 88 points the difference. It'll be a fantastic way to reward Bart for all of the hard work and dedication that he puts into this championship. I personally, I have to remain unbiased as a commentator, but I personally would love to see Bart win it. He's a lovely bloke and a very hard worker at these sorts of things. Phil Reagan, just has a moment there. Does a nice job to keep the car pointing the right way. Alex Johnson 3rd then, 0.6 of a second ahead of Sherman's. Who, by the look of it, closed up a little bit after the pit stops, or during the pit stops at least. This is Mark Van Dalen still chasing down Bart Daleman as well. A lot of the drivers sort of in these little pairings at the moment. We've got Kevin Zemstra and Mark Fletcher, not quite as close, but still as their own pair out front. Fletcher's going to be sniffing a win here. 1.2 seconds now the gap. If he can get any closer, he may get into slipstreaming range in that Altitude Esports car. .24 seconds as they go around the final couple of corners. So let's have a look at the lap times. It's their second lap after coming out of the pits. 1:31.2 for Zemstra, 1:31.1 for Fletcher. So he does take a couple of tenths out of him. Has a very scary moment coming out of turn 1. Onto the Parabolica he goes. 1.1 seconds the gap now. I'm not sure it's slipstreaming range. Don't quite think it's enough. The gap is staying very similar. No, nothing really changed there. Although I say that actually, Mark closed up a tenth and a bit on the brakes. Greg Parmenter's just had an issue in the Sim Stickers racing machine. Going into the second to last. Oh, he's clipped the grass. He's gone straight on. Big slide across the drag strip. And gets going again. But Mark is now within a second of Kevin Zemstra, and we have 5 laps to go. Should be about 7 or 8 minutes of the race. But Mark is reeling him in. There's no two ways about it. Mark is reeling in Kevin Zemstra. So keep our eyes on this, we will. We'll see what Mark can do. Oh, the back end trying to step out a little bit on him there. Mark will be streaming this over on the Altitude Esports Twitch channel. Look at all the curb that he can use through there. Plenty of runoff. But every corner, Mark is just making the difference. He's reeling him in. So it's 0.8 of a second then. Here's the gap. You can watch it live. Seems like really this slipstream doesn't even work from there. Not even 0.7 of a second worth. Zemstra takes a very deep line to focus on the exit, as now Sherman's having a go at Jonsson. Jonsson's not been able to clear him and disappear up the road. Nick Sherman's able to fight back here. He wants a podium position overall in this race. The Sim Racers World Esports driver just needs to make sure that he keeps this tidy. Great to watch. Having a go at Alex. Alex tries to carry it around the outside. No, nothing doing there. They stick together side by side as they come into the stadium section. Big flick to the right. High speed corner. Sherman's in front. But for how long? Because Jonsson will climb around all over the back of this car to try and get through. On to lap 27 out of 30. Sherman's leading the way. At least in this battle, I should say. Now for Kevin Zemstra, the gap is still 0.7 of a second. So I do not think that Fletcher will be able to do anything from there. No, the gap came down by 100th of a second as they went down the Parabolica. Just seems that Mark can catch up a lot on the brakes into that hairpin. He's now 0.6 back. So he gained another 1/10 of a second. Jonsson now takes his turn at going down the inside of Nick Sherman's, gets in front. Nick chasing him with a bit of slipstream. Looks like Alex has got that for now. Further back, Tobias Olson trying to overtake Craig Schill. Craig, of course, in the Academy class. Tobias in the Precision class. Tobias is just trying to keep this nice and tidy now. Just play the race as he needs to. To be honest, the way he needs to play it is to absolutely get on with it and get up there, but it's not going to save him much now. Looking at the lap times, Fletcher 0.3 of a second quicker than Kevin Zemstra last time, and Mark almost equaling his best lap of the race. So he's on ultimate pace right now, is Fletcher. Fastest lap of the race is a 30.72 by Tobias Olson. Fletcher's best lap a 30.83. So he's right up there in terms of the fastest times, and he's still doing similar lap times to that now. Zemstra's got 2 more laps to go after this one. He's led since about lap 11 or 12. And he continues to do it. That Alcantec NHR by Nyman racing car looking absolutely wonderful. Shame not to have James Forsythe with us this evening. Another one of the Alcantech drivers. Uses Kevin's numbers, but reversed car 52. He's really quick and a good character. Is James Forsythe, always exciting to watch. Whoa, big wobble there for Mark Fletcher coming out the final corner. Onto the penultimate lap we go, lap 29 out of 30 here at Hockenheim. Not the Hockenheim we knew and loved. Normally the drivers would be flat out and going straight on through there, but no. I think it was 2002, wasn't it, when they changed that? Now Tobias Olson's going slowly here. Tobias has got a problem and has been overtaken by Jakob Schmanski, or has he? Comes back down the inside. Now Craig Schill overtook Tobias Olson at this point. And then, not long after, Jakob Schmanski overtook him as well, which was the moment we just saw. So, not quite sure what's happened to Tobias Olson. Maybe he's got to save fuel or something, but the pace definitely not there anymore. The gap now for the lead, 0.4 of a second. Mark Fletcher hoping to get another win this season in this championship. He took 4 wins in the B playoffs, and now he's on the brink of taking another, but Kevin Zemstra is the man right in front of him. Kevin's got to hold on. Can he do it? Let's see what the slipstream's like as we go down the parabolica. Half a second in it, that will certainly come down. Watch the thousandths tick away, there you go. Down goes the gap. I don't think it's going to be enough for him to make a move, but certainly helping, isn't it? Smashing off the limiter. You can really hear the car being starved of air. Look at that. Mark gets it stopped so well on the brakes. Just gains that little bit more time on Kevin, but still Zemstra putting the car where he needs to. Getting the run out of the corner is so important to him right now. And he's doing that right. He doesn't look like a man that's under pressure. He doesn't look like he's panicking or flustering. He's just driving a very cool, calm and collected performance. And he's only got a couple more corners to hang on to it. Mark puts his nose down the inside anyway, just tries to scare him into a move. It doesn't look like anything's going to change. I say that, I'm a commentator. It's probably a humongous curse. Around the final corner, and across the line goes Kevin Zemstra to take a win at Hockenheim. Fletcher is second, brilliant stuff for him. Alex Jonsson's going to finish third, and that will all but wrap up the title for flying at altitude with Alcantech. Brilliant stuff by the pair of them. Nick Shermans is next across the line, and coming home in 5th position, your champion of Season 4 in the Sim Stickers Simracersworld Formula 3 Series is Bart Daleman. The Belgian driver takes the overall title, and it is very well deserved indeed. Hans Polmans makes it a very good day for Belgium with a win in the consistency class. Ross Nicholson and Philip Russell next up, Philip finishing second in his class. And then a trio of absolute superstars from Academy. Phil Reagan round the final corner, 12 places gained for him, wins the Academy class. Awesome drive indeed, Phil. Same for Craig Schill as well, second place, 12 places gained for him. And another 12 places gained, or is it? For Jakob Schmanski, he started doing donuts a little bit early here. Takes another podium in his class. But right now, it's all about Kevin Zemstra, your race winner, and Bart Daleman, your Season 4 champion. Absolutely epic stuff for Bart. Actually, we can do with a more party-based song than that, can't we? That's what the cool kids say, innit? But Bart put all the effort into organising this championship. He's had a fantastic team of people around him. And he takes the overall title right on board with him for the moment that he did it. Into the final couple of corners, and it was probably this moment where he knew it was all going to start sinking in, and he's finally come out on top. And there you go, a weave across the line, and a very, very happy man, Bart Daleman. Also, it's worth giving a shout out to Ben Hoffman, because Ben Hoffman is also a champion in his respective field. Or is he? No, sorry. Oh no, I've done a bad. Because Ben finished behind Tim Rutten on the circuit. I'm pretty sure they were 3rd and 4th in class. So the gap is 24 points. The gap is 24 points between Ben Hoffman and Tim Rutten. I'm so sorry. That means that Tim Rutten can do it, but he needs to win the race in his class with no points for Ben Hoffman. Anyway, let's have a look at some results, shall we, for that first race of the night. Kevin Zemstra takes the win, less than half a second ahead of Mark Fletcher and Alex Johnson, but flying at altitude with Alcantech will take the team's championship after a great second half of the campaign. Nick Sherman's his 4th, brilliant drive for him. Bart Daleman takes the title in 5th place. Mark van Dalen finishes 6th, just ahead of Hans Polmans, who takes the consistency class win in that race. Ross Nicholson 7th, Ross Nicholson 7th in class, 8th overall, Philip Russell 9th. Phil Reagan rounds out the 10, highest placed academy driver. Craig Schill next up with Jakob Schmanski in 12th, then it's Tim Rutten and Ben Hoffman. Tobias Olson eventually 15th, will miss out on the title, but still a very valiant performance indeed. Freitas, Palmer and Parmenter are 1 lap down, and then the drivers that didn't finish: Stephen Grabowski, Dominik Astrovaisha, Khan Newen, Adam Ossioala, Reece Saunders and Silas Krag-Vrolik. So it's about that time where we will now get ready for the second race of the evening. We still have another race left to go. Oh yes, we do. Not going to be long now though until the guys get the server set up. It's just because it's all based on championship positions rather than qualifying or anything else, so you have to set it all up manually. So bear with me a couple of minutes everybody, and we will be right back with you.
been holding on for so long, I can't remember why. The fire's gone, I'm all burnt out, the embers have gone dry. I don't need your love to carry on. I don't need your love to make me strong. No, I've got courage to guide me through the dark. I've got courage to follow my own heart. Not everyone you lose is a loss. At what cost? At what cost? I don't need your love to carry on. I don't need your love to make me strong. No, I've got courage to guide me through the dark. I've got courage to follow my own heart. I've got
Hello again then everybody, Chaz Draycott here at Hockenheim for the final round of the Sim Stickers Simracersworld Formula 3 series. I still can't even believe that we're already at the end of this wonderful championship. It's a series that's gone by very, very quickly indeed. And to be honest, this last race of the season promises to be a real corker. The gap between Ben Hoffman and Tim Rutten is 25 points, so Rutten has to win this with a fastest lap to beat Ben Hoffman. And Ben just needs to score a point, basically, so Ben just needs to finish the race, and I think pretty much you can all but confirm that. Bart has now won the championship outright. That has been confirmed. GG, Bart Daleman, your overall champion. Jakob Schmanski has rounded it up in Academy. In terms of the other battles, though, Phil Reagan is only 9 points behind Craig Schill in Academy right now. Those two very, very close indeed. There's 13 points between Tim Rutten and Hans Polmans for second and third in the Consistency Championship, but Polmans only 5 points ahead of this man, Philip Russell. Philip could still get a championship podium Mark Fletcher is 18 points behind Tobias Olson, who is 6 points behind Alex Jonsson. So Fletcher could still get third in the championship overall. But it's going to be some hard work for him if he does. So, a little bit of calm before the storm. As mentioned, championship standings reversed by class is how they sort out the grid. And it's going to be a bit gloves off for this final race, I feel, as the session is just about to come to an end, so we can get things ready for the last race. I hope you've enjoyed it this season, everybody, here on Sim Racers World TV. My colleague Hasse Raymer doing the first couple of broadcasts, and then I joined him for some of the commentary as well. And now, unfortunately, you're all stuck with me once again. So, as I get it wrong, the starting order for this race is the finishing order of the previous one. So it's Zemstra from Fletcher, Jonsson, Shermans, Daleman and Mark van Dalen. Hans Polman's the highest placed consistency driver ahead of Nicholson. Russell Reagan rounds out the top 10. Then it's Craig Schill and Jakob Schmanski. Tim Rutten and Ben Hoffman. Tobias Olson and Miguel Freitas on row 8 ahead of Wayne Palmer, Greg Parmenter, Stephen Grabowski, Dominika Stravajsha, Adam Osiowala and the very unfortunate Silas Krag Vrolik starting at the back. So then, one more dance this season, everybody. Let us know who your money's on. Can Zemstra hold on to take 2 wins out of 2 at Hockenheim? Will Bart Daleman come through to finish the season in style? Will Tobias Olson make a massive charge through the field? Or will Mark Fletcher absolutely fluke it and take the win? He knows I'm joking. Grabowski lines up on the grid further back. And we are all ready to go then for the final race of the season. In Season 4 of the Sim Stickers Simracers World Formula 3 Series, we are underway. Lights not on for long at all. Ross Nicholson's had a nightmare of a start. He's dropped a bunch of positions already. Side by side for the lead through turn 1. Fletcher down the inside on Zemstra. Daleman's gained 2 places already. It looks like Fletcher's going to do it though. A little bit later on the brakes. He's got that done. Nick Sherman's just ahead of class leader Hans Polmans. He needs to finish ahead of Philip Russell in this race to keep third place in the championship, or he could lose that championship podium. Craig Schill needing to finish ahead of Phil Reagan as well. 9 points between those two. So as long as Craig is 1 position behind Phil, he should be alright. Right now he's 2 positions behind him. So Reagan will take 2nd in the championship. The battle at the front though is between Fletcher, Zemstra and Daleman. Daleman now, he's got the championship done. The gloves are off and he's spun Mark Fletcher. There's contact behind. Van Dalen's involved in it. Hopefully nobody else. Whoa, that was close there. That was Reagan. Getting very, very close indeed. Tobias Olson's somehow come through the pack. Sherman's backwards. Nick Sherman's is facing the wrong way. And Bart Daleman's going down the order. I imagine he's waiting for Mark Fletcher. Oh, for God's sake. Honestly, like, can we start a GoFundMe for, like, some stress balls for Silas Craig Vrolik? His teammate Kevin Zemstra doesn't need him at all. Kevin Zemstra's out in the lead by a long shot. Tobias Olson, though, what a first lap. Gains 10 places. That Reagan. Reagan's off. Phil Reagan is off. Dominika Stravajsha is off as well. He's gone on to the inside. Oh, that's a humongous accident for Dominika Stravajsha. Stephen Grabowski, for some reason his livery hasn't loaded for this race, but Phil Reagan trying to get 2nd in the Academy Championship, just needed to finish ahead of Craig Schill, and he is now a number of places behind. Adam Osiowala has gained 11 spots to lead the Academy class in this race. Brilliant stuff from him. We've got 3 wide further up. That's Tim Rutten in the middle, Philip Russell on the left, Tobias Olson on the right, and through he goes. Now let's have a quick look then at some of the argy-bargy that went on. Mark Fletcher having a spin. Was there contact with Bart Daleman? Oh, I don't know. I don't know if there was. We'll have to go a little bit further back than that, I think. Let's just try and find... See if we can go on board with Bart Daleman. We've gone a bit far back here, but We'll stick with it. If anything else has happened, we will go through some replays and have a look. So Bart watching this battle in front. Mark Fletcher on the right, Kevin Zemstra on the left. Hard onto the brakes to go. Bart gets a great run through. I think maybe a bit of netcode or something in there. Van Dalen hits the front of Fletcher's car. And then what happened to Nick Sherman? So, Sherman's I think did it on his own. Spins and somehow gets away with all of it. And then after this, Silas went off. Oh, he's done it on his own, actually. I thought he had some contact. This is what happened with Phil Reagan. Oh, Grabowski's just driven into the back of him, and then he's been hit. Javisha gets caught up big time with another car as well. Oh, was that Ben Hoffman? You're joking, that was Ben Hoffman. Ben Hoffman was involved with his teammate, Dominikas Javisha. So it all happens in front. Schill goes right. Ben goes right. Javisha goes into him. And it's a massive, massive hit into the wall for both of them. So Ben Hoffman is out of this race. Tim Rutten needs to win this class and get the fastest lap in this class. Right now, he's on to do neither, because Hans Polmans leads consistency, but that does genuinely mean that Tim Rutten could do this by 1 point, because Ben Hoffman will not be classified currently. Phil Reagan's off again, so his championship isn't going to go too well against Craig Schill right now. Here is Craig. Just ahead of Wayne Palmer. But Ben Hoffman and Dominikas Javisha, the two XZ Racing red cars, both out of this race. That's unbelievable. From the same incident as well. Still, the show must go on. Wayne Palmer now tucking in behind Craig Schill down the Parabolica. Towards the hairpin they go. A pair of them side by side. And Schill just concedes that for now. He's leading the academy class, so he doesn't need to worry too much about it. You can tell I reminded myself about the graphics then, can't you? He's still got Bart Daleman between himself and academy champion Jakob Schmanski. Oh dearie me. Greg Parmenter and Mark Fletcher involved in some big, big moment. Adam Osiowala had an off. This is coming onto the Parabolica. So this is Fletcher and Parmenter. Oh, Fletcher's tried to get a cutback, and he's hit the back of Greg Parmenter. Mark, with damage to the front of the car, isn't having a race to remember after such great pace and consistency in that first one. This one isn't quite going as well, I'm afraid. He still has Craig Vrolick just ahead of Stephen Grabowski. He got ahead of him not too long ago. So even after the spin earlier, Silas is still pushing on. Tobias Olson, by the way, third place at the moment. What a fantastic final race he's having so far. He's just behind Alex Johnson and Kevin Zemstra, who continues to lead this race. 3 Alcantech cars in the top 3, all different teams. Alcantech NHR by Nyman Racing, Flying at Altitude with Alcantech, and then Alcantech NHR by SimLab. Right now, Zemstra is losing a bit of this pace, and Johnson is closing in on him here. Alex isn't letting him have this all his own way. These new Alcantech liveries, though, look absolutely stunning, don't they? Really cool looking cars. Through the final sector they go. Quarter of the way through this race already. It should only be the one pit stop in this race, so drivers are going to try and make the fuel last as long as possible. That's Adam Osiowala off the road. He's got damage to the front of his car. He's had another issue here. Oh, don't tell me he's going to get hit. Oh, was that a hit with Stephen Grabowski? I believe it was. Let's have a look from Stephen's point of view. There's Adam losing the back end. Stephen turns it in. Oh, yeah, just clips the front end of his car and takes the wing off. And yeah, Adam, unfortunately, having to come into the pits. Now then, this battle's raging all of a sudden. Alex Johnson wants to take a win. Down the inside he goes. Thank you very much indeed, he says. Alex Johnson doing an unbelievable job this season, considering that he hasn't won a race yet. He's not even won his class yet. Alex Johnson's still not winning a race, and now, finally, he's in the lead of one. Can he keep it? That's the next question. Zemstra, then Olson behind. Philip Russell is right behind Miguel Freitas, but Miguel recently overtook him, so that gap will get bigger. Currently, Philip Russell 4th in the championship, 5 points behind Hans Polmans, so he's certainly not going to overdo that. Now Ben Hoffman in the chat, it's good to see you, mate, but yeah, Ben is consistency champion so long as Tim Rutten doesn't win his class and get fastest lap, because the gap right now is 25 points, and you get 25 points for a win, and if you get 26 points because you get fastest lap in your class, that would put Tim Rutten as champion. So hold on to your hat, Ben. It's a real shame that your race has ended though, buddy. And fingers crossed it's not that decides the championship. It would be a real shame to see it go that way. Greg Parmenter just had a little bit of a minute there. Mark Van Dalen has just overtaken him in his rise back up through the order. Obviously Mark being involved in some shenanigans earlier on with Mark Fletcher. Into the hairpin they go. Oh, hello! That was Phil Reagan having a bit of a lock-up there. Mark will want to clear Phil as quickly as possible now, thinking, right, I don't want to lose any time behind you, Sunshine. We've both got very, very brightly coloured cars. Let's just try and separate them a little bit. Van Dalen down the inside, and through he goes. Phil Reagan used to drive for year one as well. Ah, right, okay. I did not know that. Mr. Godden has just confirmed in the chat that as long as Ben started the race, he will still get classified as 5th in class. So he will still get some points, even if he doesn't finish the race. Which I don't really agree with. However, that's not my job. That's the fact. So, as Ben started, he will be champion. Now look at this. Tobias Olson down the inside of Kevin Zemstra. It's the two Super Swedes at the front now. First and second. Silas Craig Vrolic trying to overtake Jakob Schmanski. Side by side down to the hairpin. Everywhere you look in this championship, there's Alcantech cars. It's like Pure Sims in World GT. Olsen isn't out of the woods yet, though. He's got Zemstra right up his exhaust pipe. Oh, hello. Hello, Tobias. Careful. Steady on, son. Wow. Steady on, son, indeed. Tobias is pushing very, very hard. Oh, no, I totally agree, Ben. You know, if the points have been given out for that, then the points have been given out. That's fair enough, man. That is fair enough. GG, son. GG. So it's an Alcantech 1-2-3 technically at the moment, even though it's flying at altitude with Alcantech's Alex Johnson leading the way. And how brilliant he has been since the very start of his appearances in this series. They've certainly been a very, very powerful force in the championship of all of the Alcantech guys. It's been great to have them along. And we hope, of course, if there are more seasons going forward, then we hope to have them back with us. There they are, 1, 2 and 3, 96, 19 and 25. Hans Polmans, by the way, 4th overall. Hansi leading the consistency class at the moment. Ben, of course, willing on Hansi right now. But he's been doing a mega job as the Flemish Sim Sports driver. He's got Ross Nicholson behind him. In terms of positions gained, by the way, Silas Krag-Vrolik has gained 10. Fantastic drive from him. Miguel Freitas has gained 9 spots. And Tobias Olson has gained 13. Super Swede, as mentioned, flying through the pack. Halfway through the race now. Down the Parabolica once again. Look now, they're getting a bit more spread out, which says to me that Olsen is catching Jonsson and getting away from Zemstra, so that could all still change. Ross Nicholson closing in on Hans Polmans. Hansi won't want to fight this too hard right now, but he will not want to lose any time at all because Tim Rutten's right there in the background. Look, there he is. Hansi will want to finish his season with a consistency class win to his name. Still Tim Rutten pushing very hard indeed, as you see there. The gap in the academy class, by the way, is about 2 seconds. Craig Schill just there, Jakob Schmanski just there in the Mamba car. So a bit of daylight between those two, but we stay with Hansi for now. Just looking through some of the times to see who's been setting the quickest times. To be honest, Alex Jonsson's done a 1:30.31, Olsen's done a 1:30.34. Everybody else pretty much, other than Bart Deelman and Miguel Freitas. Actually, no, pretty much all the precision drivers are in the 30s there. Everyone else on the 31s. We've got some drivers now that have pitted. And I believe now, really, it's only the top 9 drivers that haven't been in the pits yet this race. Of course, a number of them having damage and other things to sort out. I'm wondering how that's going to affect things at the end. Because some of these drivers now further down, the likes of Silas Krag-Vrolik, people like Mark van Dalen, Nick Shermans, they may pit a little bit earlier than they'd like to and have to have a second stop. Here's Alex Jonsson on his way in, Tobias Olson, Kevin Zemstra, Hans Polmans, Miguel Freitas, everybody coming in now. Pretty sure that 12 laps is all these cars can do on the fuel. So later on we may see some more drivers having to come in once again. Kevin Zemstra, for a moment there, took the lead in class because his garage is a little bit further down than Jonsson and Olsen. And everybody now making their way out of the pit lane. Miguel Freitas on his way out. Ross Nicholson's just gone past. Philip Russell coming through. There's Tim Rutten on the left-hand side. That's an interesting battle in the consistency class. Tim Rutten was in the pits for 6.8 seconds. Philip Russell only in there for 4.9, so he's gained a little bit of time on him. So now, can Philip do anything about Tim? Thank you as well to Paul Godden for updating the standings on the sheets for me, so I know where we're at. Right now, Ben Hoffman would win the championship by 16 points. Flying at altitude with Alcantec would pretty much nail the championship on the head anyway. Looking at the points though, there's not too much changing right now in terms of positions in the championship. Alex Jonsson though, this absolute star, is on to second in the championship if he stays in front of Tobias Olson. If this switches around, there'll be a 5-point difference, which actually, to be fair, would mean that Alex still finishes second overall. So what a great season it's been for Alex Jonsson. And can I just say, this is without any class wins. Alex Jonsson has not won a race yet this season. He's been an absolute legend this season, and he's a really nice guy as well. Speaking of legends though, Tobias Olson, the first set of playoffs, Tobias was absolutely untouchable, wasn't he? And look at him now, he's come through the field from 15th on the grid to be fighting his teammate for the overall lead with 7 laps to go. These two came together at the Red Bull Ring, they don't want to do it again. Certainly looks like they do, but flipping heck. They are absolutely going at it, these pair. The Super Swedes, as I keep calling them. Rightly so, I think, as well. They've been so entertaining. But still, they keep on fighting. Here's Tim Rutten behind him. Newly crowned champion Bart Daleman. And then Philip Russell just behind him. Bart stuck in the middle of this consistency sandwich at the moment. It's very tasty filling, but he doesn't want to be there. Philip Russell currently where he started this race. He started 9th on the grid, 3rd in class. Oh, it's Bart pushing the limits there. The track limits, that is. Runs wide on the exit. He's trying to do everything he can to get a run on Tim Rutten. How close he is as they go down the Parabolica. And down the inside onto the brakes. Lovely stuff, but a bit too deep actually on the exit. It looked to me like he'd got that all sorted on the way in, but then all of a sudden, no. And now he's got to do it again. Oh, he's so close to the back of Tim, and then Philip's so close to the back of him as well. Incredible how close they all got to each other there, but still it isn't changed. This isn't changed either, by the way. Alex Jonsson still just ahead of Tobias Olson. Don't quite know how Alex is holding on right now. We know how fast Tobias is. But it just seems to be, this circuit really does a lot of favours for those that focus on runs out of a corner. It really does. So those drivers that take a slightly different line on the way into a corner to then use the momentum on the exit, they're the ones that really benefit from it. It seems like Jonsson's doing a good job of keeping that up at the minute. Tobias still looks down the inside. Still doesn't go through, but look at that. The speed he carries on the apex is brilliant. We might go back on board with Tobias actually and see how this pans out. Still so close. One way then the other. Is Tobias going to be able to do it? No, he goes for a cutback on Alex Jonsson. Goes to his right hand side. Tries to go around the outside in the stadium section. Amazing stuff by Tobias Olson. He's going to get this done, is he not? He's going to be on the inside for the final couple of corners. Incredible commitment. Beautifully executed move. Alex Johnson puts his nose back down the inside, though. There's no overlap. And Tobias Olson, take a bow, son. Takes the race lead away from Alex Johnson. That was an absolute peach of a move. Look at this. Uses all the speed on the exit. Runs very wide through there, but manages to just get the car's nose down the inside. Blocks off any attempt at the cutback. And incredibly, Tobias Olson leads this race after starting 15th on the grid. Whoa, Alex Johnson tries to go through. Tobias moves very quickly to the right-hand side. That was pretty dangerous. And now they're both pushing very hard indeed. Both teammates at Alcantech. Tobias is defending this very aggressively. I'll tell you one thing, if Alex Johnson had headlights, he'd be flashing them right now. Back through, down the inside though, comes Tobias Olson once again. Epic fight. It's like Didier Pironi and not Jacques Villeneuve. It was Jacques Villeneuve, it had crashed. Gilles Villeneuve and Didier Pironi at Ferraris. No, at Ferraris in Imola? No, in Imola at Ferraris a long, long time ago. And all this time, Kevin Zemstra is watching from back here thinking, go on, lads, hit each other, have a crash. Go on, I want a freebie. Still fantastic entertainment by our two Super Swedes. Alcantech bringing a fantastic pedigree of driver to this championship this season, and we thank them for that. And their drivers, of course, for the entertainment they've brought us. But you can bet that Alex Johnson is not going to give this one up. Two very determined drivers at the top of their game right now. Olson had a nightmare playoff B and a nightmare round at Red Bull Ring. He wants to change all that. Nope. We were on board with the wrong car, weren't we? Still. Alex down the inside. Tobias on the outside. Tobias tries to go later on the brakes, goes for a cutback. Alex wanted to do exactly what Tobias did there on the previous lap. Alex has got the car on the inside now, defends that nicely, but can Tobias hang it around the outside? Yes, he can. You bet your bottom dollar he can. He's going to be on the inside now for the next right-hander, and then, of course, the right-hander after that. Is there an overlap? No. Flipping heck, that scared me then. Tobias proving to us that there definitely isn't an overlap of any kind. Johnson's mirror is just going to be a red, black and white blur right now, and especially as Kevin Zemstra's coming in on this fight as well. Incredible racing from these two Alcantech drivers. I'm not excited I can't get the team name out. Onto the straight we go then. Lap 18 out of 20, just getting underway. Tobias Olson all over the shop. One way, then the other. I've not seen driving this aggressive in ages. Now, it all looks like they're all teammates, which technically at Alcantech they are, but in this championship they're not. They really aren't. It's flying at altitude with Alcantech for Alex Johnson. Tobias Olson is in Alcantech NHR by SimLab. Kevin Zemstra, Alcantech NHR by Nyman Racing. And I was just going to go on board with Kevin Zemstra and watch the slipstream at work, but he's made a bit of a meal of the previous corner and now doesn't quite have the run that he wants. We're going to stay with him though and get a front row seat of whatever unfolds in front. Tobias Olson trying very aggressively to squeeze Alex Johnson in right now. I'm not sure it's all above board, to be honest, but that's not for me to decide. Tobias closes up a lot on the brakes, doesn't he? Alex is putting the car exactly where he needs to at the moment. He's just hoping that it chills out for a second or so, because this is incredible. Hans Polmans continues to lead the consistency class. Craig Schill continues to lead in the academy class. Hans Polmans could potentially... No, I don't think he is going to take second in the consistency class championship. Craig Schill, by the look of it, is going to take second in the academy class championship. Alex Jonsson's got a bit of daylight between himself and Tobias Olson now. What can Kevin Zemstra do about closing in on his teammate? Doesn't look like that line really worked for him there, although he is closer than he was on the previous lap, so the slipstream should be good here. Look at that. Bouncing off the limiter now, there's not much more that he can do. This is the penultimate lap of the season, and it's been amazing to watch this battle. I hope it continues to just be as entertaining throughout the final lap, as long as it doesn't come to blows. Now all of a sudden it's Zemstra looking like he could put Tobias Olson under pressure here. And oh, I've been told Jakob Schmanski's off and he's out. He's just put it in the chat. Let's have a look. Oh no! Oh, Jakob. Oh, he's bent the rear suspension. Oh yeah, he's properly bent that left rear out of shape. Oh, that's not a car. Whoa! Oh no! Well, that's one way to end your championship as champion-elect. That's a real shame, Mr. Schmanski. White flag is in the air then for the final time this season. Alex Jonsson leads, Tobias Olson second, Kevin Zemstra third. Jonsson started third, now leads the race. Tobias Olson started 15th, is up into second. Zemstra started on pole, has dropped to third. Alex Jonsson, current race leader, has not won a race this season. He's not even won his class this season. He's looking to round out the championship with a class win and second place overall. He's doing all the weaving in the world that he can to stop Tobias Olson getting the very tasty slipstream down here at the Parabolica. And we know Tobias is going to push hard for this. But how hard? Alex doesn't get an ideal exit out of the hairpin. Up to the Mercedes-Benz Arena we go. Through the right. Hard onto the brakes. You could bet that Tobias is going to look down the inside. He is. He's going to go late on the brakes. He's nearly overdone it. Has he overdone it? No. Hits the curb, bounces up in the air. Somehow there's not contact, but you've got to say that looks like it's given it to Alex Jonsson. Philip Russell's around in the background. He's lost second place in consistency to Tim Rutten. But we stay with this. Jonsson still leading the race. Tobias Olson throwing absolutely everything in the kitchen sink at these final few corners to stay with him. But I think I'm about to be able to say some words that I really would like to say and that I've been hoping to say all season. Yes, I'm going to give it the go-ahead. Alex Jonsson wins in the Sim Stickers Simracersworld Formula 3 Series. Fantastic battle at the end. Tobias Olson second. Kevin Zemstra third. Ross Nicholson is going to get fourth. Hans Polmans wins the consistency class. Brilliant drive. Miguel Freitas, what a fantastic performance from him. 16th to 6th. Your new champion, Bart Daleman, rounds out the season with a very under-the-radar 7th place. Tim Rutten finishes second in the consistency class. Philip Russell third. Silas Craig Vrolic, 12th place is gained for him. Mark Fletcher just crosses the line, 17th overall. He will not be too chuffed with that one. Craig Shell rounds the final corner, takes another Academy class win. Brilliant stuff by Craig in the Marshalls on tour, powered by Sim Stickers car. And then we wait for Phil Reagan, who's going to come through and finish second. With this, he will be third in the Academy Championship, getting a championship podium. Whoa, that's not if Wayne Palmer has anything to do with it. Wayne nearly crashing into the back of him for a second there. And still going down the inside. Even into the very final corners of the championship, there's still battles. Can Phil carry the pace on the exit? I think he's out of fuel, actually. He is, but Phil Reagan crosses the line, then finishes the race. And that is the end of the season, everybody. Alex Jonsson finally gets a race win. But your champions, everybody, are Bart Daleman, Ben Hoffman, and Jakob Schmanski. Alcantech, Flying at Altitude with Alcantech take the team's championship. And it's been one hell of a season. Really appreciate you all sticking with us throughout all of this. It's been great to have you all with us. We hope you've thoroughly enjoyed it, because I certainly have up here in the commentary box. But Alex Jonsson finally taking a race win. He certainly worked very, very hard for that one. Tobias Olson second, just under half a second behind him. And then third place went the way of Kevin Zemstra. A good night tonight for Kevin. Ross Nicholson finishes fourth. Hans Polmans wins consistency class in fifth. Miguel Freitas is sixth ahead of Bart Daleman, newly crowned champion, in seventh. Tim Rutten is eighth ahead of Philip Russell. And Silas Cragg-Rollick, who rounds out the top 10. Nick Shermans is 11th, with Craig Schill 12th, Mark Van Dalen 13th, and Wayne Palmer in 14th position. Phil Reagan 15th ahead of Greg Parmenter, who gets an Academy class podium. Mark Fletcher 1 lap down in 17th ahead of Adam Osiawala, also 1 lap down. Jakob Schmanski crashed out with 2 laps to go. Dominika Strzajewska with 9 laps to go. Stephen Grabowski 15 laps to go. And Ben Hoffman out at the very start of the race. Well, that race certainly kept us on our toes, as did the whole championship, to be honest. And we're going to have a chat with a couple of drivers to round out our season. Hopefully get a couple of people in to have a good chatter. The first person that we're going to speak to, though, is a Mr. Hans Polmans, who had a very, very strong final round of the meeting, or final round of the season, if I get my words the right way round. Hansy, you must be really chuffed with that, mate. That seemed like a really strong meeting for you. Did you enjoy that?
Yes, I did, and actually I did not expect that at all. I had a very bad week. I had a flu shot on Monday at work, and I haven't slept until today, so...
Oh, wow. So straight out of the sleep, straight into the car, and that's the best way to do it, is it?
Yeah, apparently. Last race was rather... bad, let's say it at least. I didn't enter the chat for a week because I was furious. 2 lap 1 incidents, and the car was toast.
Well, it's a good turnaround to come to this then, isn't it, from a week like that? But that just shows you how much the favour can swing one way to the other in motorsport, doesn't it?
Yeah, indeed. Just don't give up, don't quit, just go for it.
And what do you make of driving these cars around Hockenheim? Obviously, it's made as a Grand Prix circuit originally, still converted to be so. These cars don't always suit the bigger circuits, but they seem to go quite well around here. Yeah,
it's quite enjoyable at Hockenheim. I didn't like it in Red Bull Ring. It is not as long, but it's a different track surface, I think, and it's very slippery, as we've noticed in the first few laps. And Hockenheim seems to be a bit more grippy. So, well, the Germans know how to do concrete, so that's maybe something to do with it.
Well, even virtual concrete, they've got that right. Well, it's been a hell of a season for you, Hansy. There's obviously been some highs and lows as well. Really strong performance throughout the championship and a great result to come away with. What's been your sort of highlights of this season?
Well, I did like the race at Spa the most. We had some nice action there with Dim and I think it was Silas. Very fair, very honest, and we just went for it a few times, 3 wide and Camel, and just before the bus stop. So that was actually my most enjoyable moment of the whole season.
Yeah, I agree on that one. It was an absolute belt of a race, that. Well, it's been very very enjoyable to watch you as ever. You are actually on the thumbnail for this final round as well. So
yeah, I saw. I felt flattered a bit.
Very very fitting that we get to speak to you, mate. Obviously, well done on this season. It's been great to commentate on. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to before you go?
Yeah, well, mostly our sponsor Viraco for supporting us for another year, making it possible for us to do something like this. And well, the entire team.
Cracking stuff. Well, great to speak to you as ever, Hansy. Well done, mate, and I'm sure we'll catch up again very, very soon, buddy.
Yeah, we'll do.
Cheers.
Till next time, Chess.
Bye.
Bye.
There you go then. Hans Polmans, really, really top guy. Great to speak to as ever, and someone that we need to have a chat with, who, to be honest, is probably sweating buckets after that one, after coming through from 15th on the grid. Tobias Olson, mate, you tried just about everything you could there to get past Jonsson at the end of that race. It was a hell of a battle, but it didn't pay off. I bet you still enjoyed it, though, didn't you?
Yeah, it was a really fun battle. Sweaty as hell. I managed to get one time there, but it's... he stayed in the toe, and then it's... Yeah, I couldn't really pull away. So, but it was really fun, and some close calls, but it was nice.
Yeah, well, it certainly had me on my toes. That did the close calls you mentioned there. But to drive through the field like that and then still have the time to battle, it must give you one, a massive amount of confidence to know you've got that pace. But two, it might be a bit of a sour taste in your mouth because, of course, that should have been the pace we had all along to see you win the championship, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, I'm a bit disappointed, but only myself to blame. Race 1 tonight I misjudged the guy in front of me going into turn 2. The speed on the apex, I just misjudged it, and I went into him. So really sorry for that. But
well, it's been fantastic. It has still been very entertaining to watch you all season, because even when you have had these sort of slightly less ideal meetings, as I'll call them, you have done some incredible drives through the field to come back into it, and it's almost like you were always at the front from the start anyway. It's not like you were ever at the back. So hats off to you for that. Can we expect to see you for another season of this?
Yeah, I will look at it. I will see. Maybe. I hope so.
Well, I certainly hope so too, mate. But we'll leave it at that, buddy. But thank you very much for joining me. Is there anyone you'd like to give a quick shout out to?
Yes, my team, Hockenheim, and you guys for doing the broadcast on the championship.
Thank you very much. See you soon. Cheers.
Yeah.
Tobias Olson, a man that a very hard-working man this evening was Mr. Olson, and to be honest, I'm surprised that he didn't take the win in the end there, but he certainly threw everything in the kitchen sink at that. Somebody that threw everything in the kitchen sink at the back of Greg Parmenter and paid for it was Mark Fletcher, who unfortunately dropped a long way down the order after that. It must have been because I told you that you were going to win it, Mark.
Mate, how to go from hero to zero really fast.
To be fair, actually, I will tell everybody on stream right now that the last message that Mark sent me said "win or bin, lol." So I think that proves the point.
We've just had the discussion as well. Bart waited for me because he thought he hit me.
I thought he hit you.
No, that was full. That was full on me. I lit it up too quick trying to get back on the inside of Kevin. But then I also blamed Kevin because if I'd have beat him in race 1, he wouldn't have been there.
It's never anyone else's fault, Mark. That's the thing in motorsport, isn't it? But
no, definitely not.
Still, you've had a hell of a season, mate, to be fair. You've had a lot of ups and downs, but a lot more ups than you had last time, and it certainly looks like an enjoyable series to be a part of. What sort of highlights have you had?
Oh, mate, it's been mega. As everyone knows, I made a debut a couple of years ago and then came at it properly now. The guy that turned up in race number 1 this evening, Kevin, I'm pleased he didn't turn up like that for the rest of the rounds because that was an insane drive. I had nothing left for that. But yeah, it's just so close racing, and obviously amazing to jump on board with Alex as well to hopefully I think confirmed take the team title. So yeah, we raced for 2 completely different teams. We both own them, but yeah, it kind of came together just to show that we all race together here.
Yeah, definitely, mate. It was a really good culmination to see you guys to bring that together. And of course, second half of the season, playoff B onwards, you guys have just been on fire. So it was a very, very well-deserved title. And hopefully we'll see you team up for it again next season. But you never know what the future holds, eh? Either way,
yeah.
It's been fantastic to see you race like this, Mark. Great, obviously, as a mate as well. Of course, it's always been entertaining. But is there anyone you'd like to give a final shout-out to before we go?
Have you released who won the championship?
Yes.
Who?
Mr. Daleman won the championship.
Oh. As much as I thought if I've caused him to lose the championship, I'm never getting an invite back.
Oh no, he'd won it by the end of race 1.
Oh, well, you could have dropped me that in the text.
He beat Alex Johnson by 15 points in the end. Tobias Olson third, 25 points back, and then you were 63 points back. You just beat Zemstra by 2 points.
Oh, nice. But yeah, honestly, back to it. Thanks to everyone at Altitude. Phil for making the paints. Obviously, Luke and Tom for helping me do all the spotting. Ash for just being Ash. And yeah, the sponsors here at Altitude, obviously Ace Tech Sim Sports, Freem, Sim Stickers, and Sim Racing Studio. And yeah, thank you for doing the broadcast, mate. Much appreciate it.
Lovely stuff. Well, thank you very much, mate. Great to speak to you as ever, and we look forward to next time we can see you out on track.
Perfect. Cheers, Jazz. Speak to you soon.
Nice one. Mark Fletcher, always got to get a word in with Mark Fletcher. And someone else that we'll speak to is, unfortunately, someone that retired from the race, but Jakob Schmanski, newly crowned Academy champion after the last race meeting. Wasn't quite the final race meeting you wanted there, mate, but I suppose you had a bit more time to sort of just enjoy it, didn't you, this time round?
Yeah, I took it easy. I didn't have that much time to practice, and I decided, I'm already pretty much catchable for the rest of Academy field. So I decided I want to quit because I'm not a quitter, but I still decided to have some fun, and I did, because it was a very enjoyable race. Even though there wasn't much fighting, I did enjoy having fights with different classes in the entire field today.
Well, that's it, mate. You've had a bit of a crazy season, really, because it all suddenly started coming together, didn't it? When you, I believe you were saying that Bart helped you out with stuff midway through the season, and from then on, you just rocketed up the order and you were right at the top. So, to have that in the back pocket and to have rounded up the season early, that must be a humongous confidence booster.
Yes, definitely. Seeing that I can actually be up front of the class and actually compete for the wins was a huge confidence boost, because I felt really bad after Zandvoort and Suzuka, where I was basically pulling like 10 points for the entire race meeting, up to Silverstone or Montreal, where I just was doing 60 points. So that was a huge difference. And yeah, it was very good coaching from very good drivers. And not only Bud, but there's also other skilled drivers in the group that I'm driving with. And yeah, laps and laps and laps on the tracks every single week. It paid off. It really paid off. If somebody says you can be good without the practice, then sorry, but that's just not true.
Well, you certainly showed how good you can be this season, mate, and it's been really, really entertaining to watch. We are flying through the interviews as quickly as we can, though, so before I let you go, you know the question by now at this point, Jakob.
Definitely. Yes, I know it. Would I like to give shout out to somebody? First of all, to you for sticking with us for the entire season, and I hope we'll see you in the future, because I really enjoy your style commentating.
Thank you, mate.
And other than that, of course, Bart, who helped me tremendously in the entire season. He helped me elevate my racing skills up to the level where I could actually win. Entire field who bothered to show up on every single race. Of course, I'm not throwing shade or anything, but it's also always good to note that there is 20, 25, 30 drivers who just want to get out, fight for the positions. And to Craig Schill, because I really like this guy and I'm so happy he got P2. I was rooting for him the entire week, and it's awesome. It's great to see him on such a high position. I hope he'll be the champion next season.
Really nicely said, mate. Nicely said, and I agree. Craig's a top bloke, and it is good to see him doing so well. Thank you very much, though, for the kind words, Jakob. It's been great to speak to you this season, and of course, great to see your results. We look forward to next time we can see you on track.
Have a good evening, then.
Cheers, buddy. There goes your champion, everybody. And I think we probably squeezed 2 more interviews in. Obviously, we normally go for 3, but we're going to go for about 7 today, because we have to speak to probably the most stressed out man in the world right now, Alex Johnson. Honest to God, mate, how
the happiest man in the world.
I can imagine finally getting that race win, and boy, did you have to work for that one.
Oh my! I'm not gonna swear this time around, but holy mother of God, I was so good. I was stressing the living shit out. I was having like, my pulse must have been 200 at the end.
Oh, I'm not surprised.
I was looking at the mirror all the way. I knew Toby was way quicker than me. Obviously, he's always. But I was like, if I can keep him around me, if he can't pull away, I should be fine.
Yeah.
Well, maybe fine. It could have ended in a massive crash as well. But man, that was class act from both him and I. It was so much fun.
It really was, and it looked fantastic as well. You know, the way that the cars dance around and the way that the two of you made them move against each other was just absolutely mega. You finally got that win. If we have another season of this, can we expect to see more of that? Because I'd certainly like to. That was insane.
I don't know if my heart can handle another season of this.
I don't blame you.
No, but of course, if there's another season, I'll most likely be back. Unless it's super coming back to back, I'll be back for sure. It's been too much fun to not be back.
It's good to hear.
Oh,
that,
this was great. Joining for playoff 2 and then getting P2 overall was crazy.
Yeah, and you weren't too far behind in the championship either. I mean, by the end of it, you were 15 points off Bart Daleman, so almost taking the title with only one race win. It would have been unbelievable, but Bart has just been so consistent all year. It was always going to be difficult to beat him, but you certainly showed how it's done, Alex. And obviously, it's a shame that the season is over, but either way, for the final time, is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out
to? A ton of people. First, Bart and the SRW crew. Amazing league, great organizers, and just greatly organized. You, of course, fantastic commentary all season.
Thank you, mate. Really
enjoyed watching back all the races. It's been so much fun. Obviously, my teammates, Mark, Kevin, Tobe, Silas. I don't know if we had anyone else. I think it was us four. If I forget someone. Oh, James, of course. I'm so sorry, James. And then obviously our sponsors, Alcantech, Almitech, SimLab, Nimman Racing, and LXL iRacing Designs. Much love to all of them as well.
Well, thank you very much, mate. It's been an absolute pleasure, and we look forward to seeing you again, hopefully very, very soon. But have a good night.
Likewise. Thank you, mate.
Cheers. And where would we be? Where would we be without Mr. Daleman? Bart Daleman, newly crowned champion, admin of the series as well. All the hard work's been worth it, Bart. You've done it. Well done.
Yeah, thanks. There was a lot of work in it. So after race 1, I needed a moment. I was crying a bit because it was mentally very hard. This week I almost didn't practice because I was totally tired and I was really sick of the sim and I hated the track and I didn't dare to race in race 1. I was like, I'm just going to control it, don't crash, don't push too hard, because I normally can keep up with the pace, but now I didn't dare to go on the throttle or anything. I was like, just control it, control.
Well, it certainly looked like for a lot of it you were having to work very hard indeed. I mean, the level of the driving from all of these guys all season has constantly just got better and better and better. The level playing field has got more and more level. How have you found the latter half of this series compared to the first half?
The first half I was very unlucky. Then the pressure starts building because I went into the season like that I was one of the favorites, like every time, and but then you saw the pace of Olson in the first half, and then you know that we need to work harder, which we did. I had a very dedicated schedule, which my girlfriend probably was not happy with, but I will spend some time now the season is done. But the dedication, practicing every day in the sim for at least 4 hours, and suddenly it paid off in the playoff B, and you can see that when I'm working very hard, that I can beat everyone, and I'm pretty sure I can even compete with Falcon, and if Falcon is coming back, because maybe he's coming back in season 5, we work as hard to try to give him some competition.
Well, that would be an absolutely incredible showdown as well if you throw in the likes of Olson and Jonsson as well, who only took his first win of the season tonight and still only finished 15 points off the championship. That's just insane. But either way, that would be a hell of a matchup to see, Bart, and I really hope we can do that in future. Obviously, live on air, I want to say thank you to you as well for all of the organisation you do behind the scenes and everything that goes into giving me the information I need, and everybody involved. You know, you've done a hell of a job with this, and it's been great to see you get the title. Before we wrap it up, though, for the last time this year, is there anyone that you would like to give a quick thanks to?
Yeah, first of all, I want to thank you for the broadcast and dealing with all the information I throw at you. And I know that's not always easy because you have a lot of stuff to do, and then suddenly somebody is throwing a wall of text at you. I understand if you don't read it all. Second of all, that this was my last race for Simracersworld Esports. I'm founding my own team. So I want to thank everybody in Simrace as well, because they gave me a lot. I joined the team as a GT3 champion of Simracersworld, and I'm leaving as an F3 champion. So that's pretty special. Thank Ian. He gave me, he trusted me with the F3 series, and I think I may say that it's a very popular series and that everybody likes it and everybody's waiting for season 5. Thank to Sebastian Heber. He's always supportive, and he always cared a lot about my racing, and yeah, I really love that guy, and I'm a little bit emotional that I'm leaving for him, because but yeah, there were some personal things. So and I want to thank my team, Matthijs and Vic and Nick, who was already ready for today to swap positions if it needed to be. So thanks to him, Jakob for also helping me with behind the scenes, all the admins, and of course Sim Stickers, Paul, who is yeah, he's a force, a silent force in the background, because he does much more than you would think, and his trophies that he's going to create were very. Everybody liked it in season 3, and now he's going. I already heard his plans for the trophies, and it's going to be even better. They are starting to become real collectibles, and I'm happy that I can get one, and especially from the first place. I hope I don't forget anybody. I think that's it. And if I forgot somebody, I'm very sorry. So
well, there's a hell of a lot of people to remember, mate. And like you say, you really highlighted how many people get on board with this and how much work goes into it. So hats off to you, and hats off to the team, and obviously well done on your championship. And I look forward to a potential season 5 in the future.
Yeah. I'm looking forward as well. Before I go, I have to thank my girlfriend, because she was shouting here. She was supporting, and he was like, "Hey, I'm also supporting." So yes, she was also very supportive. Yeah, and I also want to dedicate my championship for my late grandfather and late grandmother, because they did a lot when I was very young, and that's for them, this championship.
That's a nice gesture, mate. Fair play. And very, very well done again, Bart. It's been absolutely great to see. But thank you for your time, buddy. And we will see you again very, very soon. And hopefully next season.
Yeah, see you next season.
Cheers. Well, there we go, everybody. It's kind of emotional, isn't it, really? Bart Daleman takes the overall championship win in the precision class. In the consistency class, it goes the way of Ben Hoffman, who actually retired from that race, so we don't have footage of him going around at the moment. I'm sorry, Ben. Jakob Schmanski takes the Academy class title as well, and it's flying at altitude with Alcantech, Alex Jonsson, and my mate Mark Fletcher, who take the team's championship. Thank you, everybody who has been watching this season. It's been an absolute joy to have you here with us. I hope that you've enjoyed Hasse and my commentary this season and our broadcasts, and we look forward to seeing you again next season. But for now, I've been Chaz Draycott. This has been the Sim Stickers Simracersworld Formula 3 series from Hockenheim. We will see you next season in 2022. Good night.
It doesn't really matter.